Hey everybody, welcome back. It's Business, and it's time for more user replays. This one's going to be a bit different though. I actually have an idea that I just want to mention now. This one is strictly centered on destroyers, and that means that this is all about the Clemson specifically. And then the next one will be mostly cruisers with a destroyer match to start it off, and then the one following that I'm going to mostly focus on battleships, so give you guys a little bit more variety that way, you know, just to be able to kind of keep the topic overall focused on that given class for that video. But I just want to try it out for the next few and see how that goes. Maybe that's something I'll, you know, consistently do from this point forward, you know, just though we cycle through classes and stuff, because I mean there's a lot of videos I gotta try to take a look at here in replays and whatnot. But we're taking a look at Chipster here in this Clemson, and great guy, hell of a player. Usually something absolutely hilarious happens to him in his destroyers, and I would say he's one of the best cruiser players I've ever played with, and thankfully I haven't played against him. But as far as his destroyer play is concerned, I'm telling you, this guy is a magnet for crazy shit. And the Clemson is armed with a number of the 102mm guns. He gets a first kill right there, and he's lining up another, and boom, holy shit, now there's a kamikaze R right in front of him. Check this out, that 2.8 second rudder shift at work there, and now all of a sudden there's a Fuso. Holy crap. So he got a double strike, but now he's in a hell of a bind right now. And listen to this. 6 for 6, 44,000 damage if you saw the damage counter up in the top left working. And now he's point blank with the kamikaze. He's on the backside of the Fuso, who's got his secondaries railing away into Chipster here. Chipster gets off his starboard side, torps, and now there's another battleship as he pulls off to his port side and loses his engines. And now he's trying to bring around his guns as he sinks the Fuso. And there's certainly torpedoes on the way. They're coming in fast as hell. It gets his last shot off and gets another double strike. Holy shit. Way to go, man. I did not quite know what to expect when I first heard about that particular match, but that was awesome. God, I love double strikes. And now we switch over to Aethertech in his Clemson, and he's on fault line, and well, he's already in a bit of a pickle here. That's a Nievny that's coming in right for him, and I just want to throw this out there. These clips are around 2 months old. So the first clip that you saw there, I recorded, if I'm looking at the file name here, March 4th. So some of the stuff that you see is going to be, you know, the old player panels that I had. You know, just a few changes. It's not going to be entirely up to date with some of the mechanics as well with the most recent patch, so I just want to throw that out there. Some of the stuff that you see is rather old, and I've got hundreds of gigs of videos, and as far as keeping it chronologically ordered, yeah, that's not going to happen. So anyways, his captain is retraining, and I think this is like his first or second match in it. He went ahead and free XP'd the hulls, and he is just working on trying to stay alive right now. Curiously, you're going to see this a lot. I noticed that he hits shift to go into the artillery zoom, but uses the scroll wheel to pull back out of it a lot. So for viewing, this may not be the best. So I just want to mention that because of the fact that it's sometimes a bit squirrely with the camera. You know, these are all his movements. I have absolutely nothing to do with this, except when I tell you that I have pulled out of, like, you know, into the spectator view or whatever to take a look. And he's already beached twice. I mean, even by my standards, this is pretty damn impressive. And the fact that he still has that much HP is amazing. Now you can see the slow turret traverse of the Nievny at work here. I mean, those things are just barely moving at all, and he's obviously lining up a torp run here, so you get to see something you don't see every day, and that's a reversing torp dodge. And I say torp dodge because it really is easy to overcorrect with a ship that has a 2.8 second rudder shift time. I mean, the amount of times I've been killed because I've overcorrected. Honestly, I'd rather not talk about it, but there's a Kuma that's actually pretty close, harassing him a little bit here, and then Yevgeny comes back for some more, and he's bringing around his guns, and again, I gotta say, the Clemson has one of the best upgrades for a given ship, because it gets the option to double up its firepower with the dual turrets. I mean, that's a huge improvement, and Torpedo finds its mark on the Kuma, takes him out too. Now, he's done a hell of a job defending this cap, and his team hasn't capped it, but he's denying it to the enemy and taking out their ships while he's doing it. So that's, to me, is as good as capping it in the first place, because I mean, all of these points rack up in terms of being able to keep his team in the match, and he's pretty much doing this on his own, so that's even more impressive. Now he fires the torps at what looked initially like a tunnel visioned Congo, but yeah, right when he fires the torps, of course the guy starts to move. Now he took some damage from New Mexico, he's trying to get some more shots on him. The Congo is finally paying attention to Aethertech and takes out his steering, and a couple of those torps find their mark at the steering on the Congo. Alright, but he's not done defending A, because now another Nicholas moves in, and he's got to do some work here because he's really low on HP, and so is the Nicholas, but I mean, this could certainly go either way. A couple more hits came in from his allies there to try to help out, and unfortunately the dispersion prevents him from being able to knock him out right then and there. Now you can see the Congo, he's starting to turn back. So he rushes into the cap. He dropped his starboard side torps and manages a nice dodge there. So he's rushing in, and he's basically pushing with these torps, and gets the Nicholas spotted again and takes him out. But there's still a Congo to deal with, and he's broadside. Now that may not mean much initially, but considering that he's a destroyer, in his Clemson hardly has any HP right now to begin with, that's a very dangerous situation to be in. So he's got a few more seconds on his smoke, so he's down to just about 10 seconds right now, and he's lining up the torps, and he's going to come out of smoke here. As you can see, the screen start to clear up just a little bit, and he's spotted from that other New Mexico, and sure enough, he starts taking some hits from the secondaries, but pops the smoke, and now the secondaries can't find him. So now he just has to wait, and look at that. It's so beautiful when those torps get squared up against the battleship. So, bravo, man. He did end up charging another enemy battleship and getting another hit or two with his torps. Fantastic result there. Very impressive to be able to defend that with a captain that isn't fully retrained. So, very nice job, Aethertech. Now, a few things to mention with this replay is that we have a division of Clemsons, and that sounds like fun as shit to me. I really got to try this out eventually, but we have Z Unk. Actually, I don't know how the hell to say his name, so he'll just be called Z. And the other part is this. This is the Field of View mod. Curiously, this is a mod that actually transfers over into replays, so I find that odd when, whatever other mods you have, I'm not going to see them. So, but this, when it comes to altering the camera, it does transfer over to replays, so that this kind of threw me for a loop. It actually made me really appreciate how much better the sky looked, I guess, but I don't know, it looks more, trippy, but whatever. There's a lot of battleships over here, and he and his division mates are going to be pressing in against them, try to get some results as they dodge some torpedoes from a Matsuki that is trying to harass them and is hanging out behind the battleships over here. But they had been messing him up pretty well here at the cap, and had to force him. They forced him away, so now he's just. You could say he's on life support because he can't go dark at the moment, and there's a couple gunboats chasing him along with chasing 3 enemy New Yorks. So it's just a matter of time before one of those shells finds its mark, and there you have it. So his friend in front of him here, he is really, really close to this New York, and they're both launching torps at the same time. Now, one of the beautiful things about this game is when you have, of course, anybody working together in the division, and New York took I think just 1 torp hit there, but especially when it's DDs, and you do this dance with especially battleships, because there's just this lumbering giant type of mentality to this fight, and it really translates to a kind of a David versus Goliath type of thing, and it looks awesome as hell. Very, very cinematic, and a nice little move here around the sinking ship, so that looked pretty cool. But they're going in, I mean, they're going hard body karate against these guys. They're not letting up at all. I mean, bringing the pressure on and forcing them to maneuver, forcing them to shoot, and they're cutting in right after them and trying to bring their torps to bear. And amazingly, the other torps find their mark. He gets another one. Now we're going to jump ahead just a minute here, and you'll see that unfortunately one of his other division mates is dead, and now there's an Omaha that's coming in. So he lines up the torps again, and he does switch to AP. It's going to line up some shots here, and I've not had much success with the AP with the Clemson as well, so I guess I'm not terribly surprised that nothing really happened there. Now there's a double-edged sword moment here, and this is a fascinating dynamic when it comes to battleship versus destroyer gameplay. This guy knows he's coming and everything, right? He's got his shots lined up, and Z is trying to line up his torps, but here come the AP shells, and they do a shitload of damage. Now, while you want to present a very slim profile against a battleship that's broadside to you, you run a huge risk of having, assuming if any of those shells actually hit you, they have a very high chance of penetrating lengthwise and doing much more damage than if you were just parallel to them, because they're traveling through less of the ship. So, you know, there's less components to hit and all that. But it doesn't matter because the New York is dead. And actually, I take that back. It does matter because there's still ships to shoot at and try to get torps off against. I gotta say, though, he's done a hell of a job here. I mean, the three guys, they did work well together, and then once the other division mates had died, Z did a really good job here of making something happen, and I mean, it's always a combination of factors of luck and everything else, but very good match overall, so well done. And here's a name you should be familiar with. It's GD Skits again, and if you are wondering, or if you need a refresher as far as who the hell this guy is, a prior episode of User Replays, he put on an athletic display in his Miyoko, the gunnery, the ship handling, everything. Ended up with 7 kills, and just it was a fantastic match to watch. So here he is in the Clemson. You know it's going to be good. So initially, Skits has outrun his team, and that's very common at this tier, of course, because a lot of the ships, cruisers included, are pretty damn slow. The Clemson does hit up to 35 knots, and that is without the speed flag or the speed boost, so you can tack on even more on top of that. So there is an Orlon that's over to the right. As you see, he is in the division with this Bogatyr, and the Bogatyr, I gotta say, is a batshit crazy fun ship to play. I can't wait to finally get around to doing those Russian cruisers, the general overview for the low tier, and then we can get into some more details later. But the Wyoming is trying to avoid some of the other torpedoes from Skits' teammate, ends up running into a couple of those and Skits's. So I did not expect him to be the first blood. I thought it was going to be the Bogatyr, so that was a hell of a surprise. Take a look right in front here. See that walkie-talkie that's passing in front of Skits? Well, he's going to do something really shitty. And there's South Carolina just to the left of the walkie-talkie, and this Bogatyr is succumbing to the fire of, well, basically everybody shooting at him, but there's a bunch of white triangles in the water right now. And Bogatyr's down, but so is the South Carolina from the walkie-talkie. Ouch. So that's pretty shitty. Now, Skits did wrap around while his torps were reloading, and now he's able to engage the Kawachi here with the full complement of torps. So he launched his weak side, his starboard side, which certainly have a less likely chance of hitting, but unfortunately those torps that were in the lead there actually caused the guy to turn a bit more, and he's able to not take that full set of torps on the side, and which is unfortunate, but he does take one right around the nose there, around the front turret, and Skits is continuing to hit him with HE and not really get much in respect of damage. Now, mutual kill there. Thankfully, the Wakataki's down, so don't have to worry about that. But the Torps are still going, and check this out. Ding! So the Orlan takes a hit there, and he does have AP loaded now, and not much damage. He can bounce off of the bow of even an Orlan with this, but the guy didn't repair his flooding, and he goes down as well. So now Skits has to fight a low health Wakataki as well as a full health Miyogi, and the Wakataki is kind of just running away. It seems like he was maybe only going about half speed, or maybe he just repaired his engines and is trying to accelerate, but he pops smoke and disappears. Get a few more hits on him anyways with that second salvo, but this is one of the best situations to be in any destroyer bow forward against a bow forward battleship, because you close that distance so rapidly, and because of the turret rotation of the battleships, it's so heavily in the favor of the destroyer. And unfortunately for this ship, the Miyogi, he only has one turret in the front, so I honestly don't think there's anything this guy could have done to avoid this, but hell of a Torp spread, and he walked right into it. So devastating strike, high caliber, and Confederate on that set of hits there. So now there's a set of Torps coming in from the Wakataki, manages to dodge that and bring his guns back to bear, so get some more HE shells flying at this guy. Now, Skits does have a Svetlana backing him up, so that's actually really good when you're trying to fight enemy destroyers. And gets one hit there from his teammate and finishes him off and secures the Kraken. So if Skits wants to move into the cap, he's going to have to clear out these guys, an enemy Wix and Clemson. And his first target here gets some nice hits, 2,500 damage on the enemy Clemson, which, again, that's nearly 25% of his health. So if you can manage those 2,000-3,000 damage salvos as a destroyer against enemy destroyers, regardless of your tier, actually, I mean, that adds up really, really fast when you consider the overall rate of fire of the US destroyers, the Russian destroyers. You know, it's certainly nothing to scoff at. So the Wix is getting a bit closer, and there's another 2,400 damage there. You know, again, sizable portion of his health bar has disappeared, and now the Wix is down. So that's kill number 6. And you have to remember he's being backed up by a cruiser here, so that's a big help, being able to engage these guys while they're trying to manage themselves against the Svetlana. And if you've played as a destroyer against the Svetlana, you know how damn dangerous that ship actually is to approach. If you're anywhere within, you know, say 10 kilometers or less against the Svetlana as a destroyer, you tend to get shredded pretty quickly. So that's good backup to have. Now he gets that salvo a little behind as the guy started to turn away a little bit, bring that ass around and turn his bow towards Skits, but it ended up hitting, a lot of the shells ended up hitting, so he did almost 2,400 damage. Now the guy's gone dark, of course, and have some torpedoes scouting ahead for him from the Svetlana, so nice little help there. But see the shells flying out of the smoke, it's just a matter of, oh, there he is, and almost no health. Boom, there we go. That is kill number 7, and now they have a firm grasp on the enemy cap, and all of a sudden a wild Langley appears. And I know a lot of people may look at this situation and think that it's simple target practice against the Langley, but take a look at the sky. Those squadrons, they're full planes. So this the Svetlana that's over to the right is taking damage, and I mean, this is, I mean, it's not a dire situation, but you certainly have to prioritize knocking these ships out regardless of who gets the kills. So if a guy is like 1 kill away from getting Kraken, or, you know, kill away from 8, 9, 10 kills, whatever, that's not the problem here. You need to focus on being able to just simply knock the ship out and get him out of the match to begin with, because especially when you're looking at this tier, the ships can't really defend themselves with AA. All they have to defend themselves is maneuverability at best. And when you look at higher tier situations, there's a huge amount of firepower. And if you're talking like Lexington on up, I mean, those 1,000-pound bombs are no joke. Watching a battleship lose 35,000 HP to a simple dive bomber attack, that's pretty damn terrifying. Now the friendly Langley drops some torps here, and it certainly helps accelerate the process here as 2 of those end up in the enemy Langley. And look at that, he's so close. A few more shells come in from the Svetlana, but there's kill number 9 secured. So now there's just a Kuma remaining, and looks like he is being targeted by him. Certainly going to get focused, having 9 kills in the match. Get the first salvo off against him, manages to hit, gets a fire on them, does a little bit of damage, and here's the kill number 10, but not really. So he gets torped to death. Now taking a look at the battle results screens for all of the clips, yeah, Skits ended up with a shitload of base XP, actually almost as much as the top 7 on the enemy team combined. So regardless of what tier, that's incredibly nuts. Yeah, great damage totals, and again, basically what you saw in the Miyoko match with him is applied onto the Clemson. They're always moving, always making sure the turrets are finding new targets, the torpedoes are always being prepared to be launched, that sort of thing. You know, the other matches here too were excellent as well. I love that double strike with Chipster, who ended up at the top of the team for like 2 minutes of work. I mean, that's fantastic. Yeah, Aethertech and Z, because I'm not aware of how to say your name otherwise. Thank you also for sending me in the replays. I really appreciate it. And again, you know, it's batshit crazy at low tier. I love it. I think it's a lot more fun for solo play, and wait till you see some of the Isokazi matches I have to show you eventually. It's a lot of fun, but you know, I think it captures a bit more of the essence of the game at low tier. But you know, again, to each their own. That's just my opinion. But I will be streaming today, hopefully connection willing, at 3 p.m. Eastern, and I will actually be doing team battles with Kami as well once that goes live. But hope you enjoyed today's video, guys, and I will see you back here soon. Take care.